was 15 years old when my best friend Anthony invited me over for the weekend. His parents were gone until Monday, so the house was empty and ours. I rode my bike over, hid it in the backyard, and slipped in through the unlocked back door. We spent the evening destroying his video game collection, FIFA, Call of Duty, everything, while popcorn kernels and junk food wrappers piled up on the floor like battlefield debris. Around midnight, we got bored of gaming and half-watched a movie before deciding to try prank calls. Anthony went first, dialing random pizza places and messing with the workers. When it was my turn, I punched in random numbers from his cordless phone, hoping to hit a real person. On my fourth attempt, a deep, gravelly voice answered with a curt, "Yeah?" Anthony was stifling laughter in the background, which made me stumble through my lame joke. Sir, can I borrow one of your car wheels?" The guy didn't laugh. He stayed dead silent. I tried to recover, but then he spoke in that same rough tone. "What's your name, kid?" "Bob," I lied, cracking up. "You sure it's not Anthony?" The room froze. I stared at Anthony. His face had gone pale, eyes wide with real fear. I hung up instantly. "Who the hell was that?" I whispered. "I don't know," he stammered. "Caller ID only shows my dad's name. How did he know mine?" We rushed to the computer and searched every way someone could trace a name from a phone number. Anthony was way too young for any public records or data sites. We even posted the story on Yahoo Answers. No one had an explanation. He refused to call his dad and risk getting in trouble for having me over. We tried to shake it off and went back to the living room to finish the movie. Then we heard the front storm door creak open. The doorknob rattled, turned halfway before the deadbolt stopped it. Anthony killed the TV. I crept to the window and parted the blinds. A tall man stood on the porch, staring right at the house. He noticed the movement and locked eyes with me. I dropped the blinds like they'd burned me. We hid in the kitchen. Seconds later, the backyard gate squeaked. He was circling around. I'd forgotten to lock the back door after arriving. Anthony whispered, "Run and shut it." I tiptoed to the hallway. Through the glass, a dark silhouette loomed outside. He pushed the door open and stepped inside. We bolted upstairs to Anthony's room as quietly as possible, shut the door, and crawled under the bed. The dust ruffle hid us completely. Downstairs, doors opened one by one, getting closer. Heavy footsteps climbed the stairs. The bedroom door swung open. He rummaged through the closet. Hangers clinked. Then he stopped right at the bed. Anthony's breathing was ragged and loud. I clamped my hand over his mouth. The silence dragged on forever. I whispered, "Think we can make a run for it?" Before he could answer, a guttural scream tore through the room. The man yanked Anthony out by the legs. I scrambled free, grabbed a screwdriver from the nightstand, and plunged it into the intruder's back. He roared in pain and released Anthony. We sprinted downstairs, burst out the back door, and dove into the woods. We hid behind a bush, hearts pounding, watching the house. The back door opened. He scanned the yard, then the tree line. His gaze swept over our spot, but the darkness hit us. Then he started walking straight toward us. We ran deeper, leaves crunching underfoot. Anthony tripped. We flattened ourselves in the underbrush. Footsteps approached, stopped just 2 trees away. Then they faded in another direction. We waited until silence returned, then doubled back to the house. We locked the back door, called the police, and stayed on the line. I watched the windows, pitch black outside. Stupidly, I flipped on the backyard lights. There he was, standing by a massive tree at the wood's edge. He turned and melted into the shadows. That was the last we saw of him. No more sightings, no knocks at windows, nothing. 5 years passed in peace. Was the prank call connected? It has to be, but it doesn't make sense. That's the night Anthony and I almost died. My wife and I had one of those blowout fights that night, over the dumbest thing, like me forgetting to put the toilet seat down. She was screaming at full volume and I just couldn't handle it. I called my buddy Paul and asked if I could crash at his place. He said yes, come over anytime. Paul's house is huge, with 3 guest bedrooms lined up in a row on one side of the hall. His master bedroom is across from them. He's only ever used 1 guest room. The other 2 stay locked because he stores personal stuff in there. We cracked open some beers, talked trash about life, and he told me to stay as long as I needed. I insisted it'd just be one night. I didn't want to impose. I took the middle guest room. Late at night, strange noises started from the locked room next door. Thumps, shuffling, like someone moving around. I figured it was Paul, but it kept going. I knocked on his door. He was already in bed and hadn't heard a thing. "I keep those rooms locked," he said. "Go back to sleep. If it keeps up, come get me." I tried. About half an hour later, as I was finally drifting off, a soft tap came from the wall, the next room over, then a faint whisper. I shot up and ran to Paul's room. This time he took it seriously. He grabbed the keys and unlocked the door beside mine. A cold breeze rushed out. The window was wide open. The bed had fresh depressions like someone had been lying there recently. The closet was empty. Drawers were pulled out. Paul's valuables gone. He bolted to check the third room. We unlocked it. A black figure was already halfway out the window, jumping onto the patio roof below. We raced downstairs and out the back. No sign of him. What we found in that third room was worse. The white sheets were stained with fresh blood. On the floor lay Paul's missing butcher knife, dotted with blood spots. They'd been squatting there for over a week, probably homeless, maybe on drugs. Paul had even joked earlier about how fast his food vanished while he stayed skinny. It all made sense now. They were never caught as far as we know. It was my first real sleepover, age 10, at my friend Jordan's house. He had a massive basement, perfect for staying up late. We played video games until 1 a.m., then crashed on the couches without brushing our teeth, feeling like total rebels. I fell asleep easily. Sometime in the night, I woke up. The TV was still on, but just static, giving off a faint blue glow. In the far corner, near the stairs, stood something tall, almost ceiling high. I couldn't make out details in the dim light, just a dark, looming shape. The TV snapped off. Darkness swallowed everything. I squeezed my eyes shut, too terrified to move or scream. I don't remember falling back asleep. Then a piercing scream from upstairs, Jordan's mom. We both bolted awake and raced up. She was in the bedroom, crying hysterically, while his dad tore the room apart, searching. He checked the whole house. No forced entry, no signs of anyone. No one there. Jordan and I are still close friends. Years later, I asked about that night. His mom hates talking about it, but she finally admitted she saw a tall, dark figure standing right by their bedroom door. I'm sure that's what I saw in the basement, watching us sleep in the dark.